Hello, this is Lynn Madajan from Madajan's Herbals, and tonight on Wisdom from Gran, we are going to talk about pendulums. Now, I decided to go ahead and break this up into two classes, so tonight is going to be the basics, and then next Wednesday is going to be more advanced pendulum magic. Now, a pendulum, this is my pendulum. So it's an celestial quartz with moonstone, and the top is the goddess. So this is the one that I am currently using. But a pendulum can be a great many things. It can be a crystal on a chain, like this one. It can be a necklace that has a stone on it. It can be a metal plumb bob that you put on a chain or a string. It can be a button on a string. It can, back when my mother was pregnant, so that was, 66 years ago, grandmothers would take their wedding ring and put it on a chain and put the ring over the pregnant belly and tell the women if they had a girl baby or a boy baby. In a pinch, I have actually used my car keys. So anything that can dangle and move freely can be used. Now, that being said, pendulum magic, like any kind of magic, gets better the more you practice. And so I wouldn't necessarily recommend you try your car keys if you've never used a pendulum before. To be a little bit honest, when I did it, I was somewhat surprised that it worked. Although I've been working with pendulums for a very long time, and they work, and I have a real strong connection with this kind of magic and divination. And so I'm not all that surprised. So how do you choose a pendulum? First of all is you take a look and see what attracts your attention. I've got a variety of pendulums at the shop. I've got a variety of pendulums here, but I just brought the one down. Personally, for me, citrine is oftentimes a go-to. It was the moonstones on this pendulum that actually caught my attention, and so, like I said, currently right now this is the one I'm using. What I tell people when you come into the store is hold the pendulum over your hand, and if you see it start to move, then it's going to work with you. Now, sometimes you can move very small. You can see just a little tiny movement there, but you can also make it bigger. It is, and I can get these pendulums moving really, really fast and hard. If it's moving, then I say to the pendulum, show me yes. Now, for me, yes is up and down. Can you see the pendulum? It is, and then I say, show me no. And show me no is moving crossways. And then I say, show me I don't know. And I don't know is a diagonal line. It is, okay, stop. And then it stops. Okay, then generally what I'll do is I'll ask a couple of questions that I know the answer to. So today I would say, am I wearing gray? And the answer is yes, I am wearing gray. Okay, am I wearing a skirt? And there's the answer, no, and I'm not. I'm wearing a pair of jeans. Once you have made that connection with your pendulum, then you can go ahead and start working with it and asking other questions. Now, for me, just because my signal for yes is up and down and my signal for no is sideways, that doesn't mean that that's how your pendulum is going to respond to you. It could be just the opposite, where yes would be sideways and no would be back and forth. It could be that yes is a clockwise circle and no is a counterclockwise circle. It totally depends on the energy that you run at and also the connection you have with the stone. So anytime I pick up a new stone or a new pendulum, I will ask it again. Okay, show me yes and show me no. Now, once we've established it, I don't ask that question every time I pick up my pendulum, because I know the way that it works for me. But as you try different pendulums, you're going to want to try to make sure that you know that the answers that you're getting, you actually know whether that's a yes or a no. Now, how to operate a pendulum. Now, I hold it in my hand here with my thumb and tip it over the fingers. Now, you want to make sure that your fingers aren't stopping the pendulum from moving, so you need to bring your fingers in, because if you're holding it too tightly, it's not going to move. And that's not the fault of the stone or the connection. It's the fact that you are blocking it from moving because of your fingers. If you typically, I use my pendulum with my dominant hand, and so for me that's right. Now you can practice and do it with your non-dominant hand as well. Show me yes, show me no. Okay, now the difference for me right now is this is just not comfortable. It works, and it's going to work for both of my hands, but this one is more comfortable, probably because this is the one I always use. If I practiced more with my left hand, it would probably become just as comfortable with that. It is, if you're at a table, like I am here, put your elbow on the table, because then you're not going to move your hand. And so when your pendulum starts moving, you're not swinging it, because your elbow is sturdy on the table. If you are standing, then bring your elbow up to the rib cage here, and again, it makes it stronger to you don't end up moving your elbow, or your arm. But if you're just going like this, you don't know how much you're how much you're shaking or anything. So you want to make sure that your elbow is braced, whether it's on a table or up against your ribs. The other things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't have your arms or legs or feet crossed, because when you cross that changes the energy flow, and then you will very likely have a different response with your pendulum. It is and the other thing is, you can ask your questions out loud, or you can ask your questions just in your head so nobody else can hear it. Now, the questions need to be a yes or no question. You cannot ask the pendulum, should I go to New Orleans or San Francisco? Because it doesn't have, at this point in time, it doesn't have a way to respond. Next week, we'll talk about how to do that. But what you would do is ask, should I go to New Orleans? And it says yes. Should I go to San Francisco? And it says no. So if I were trying to make a decision on where I wanted to go for my vacation, the pendulum is telling me that I should go to New Orleans. It's been a long time since I've been there. You can ask questions about your past, helping you with memories. You can ask your questions about your future. And you can ask your questions about your innermost feelings. Things like, am I fearful because my heart is closed? It is, you can talk to your pendulum about your feelings for other people as well. So pretty much any question that you can put in a yes or no format, you can ask. So then the question comes with, how does this work? And the pendulum gives us access to our subconscious mind. It can actually be said that it is an extension of our central nervous system. For at least 200 years, people have known that that unconscious, involuntary movements of the hand holding the pendulum causes the pendulum to move. The subconscious mind of the person holding the pendulum causes the muscles in your hand and your arm to react unconsciously. This is known as an ideomotor response. And it is, ideomotor is from your mind to your muscles. It is, the pendulum amplifies those involuntary movements and spasms in your arms, because you're not going to see it. You won't see it and you won't feel it in your arm, but the pendulum is an extension of that, and that's what makes it move. So it's kind of like the ripples in a pond. And so ultimately what is happening is the answers are coming from inside of you, from your subconscious mind. Some people call that your higher self. It could also be from the collective unconscious, because we're all tapped into that as well. There is a caveat here, and that is if you are truly emotionally invested in the answer, you can affect the movement of the pendulum. I can ask a question, and so I'm wearing black jeans. So I can say, am I wearing black? And it's pointing yes. Now, if I say it, I can say it again. Am I wearing black? And there it is. There's the answer, no. And I am wearing black. I'm wearing black jeans. But I wanted it to say no, and so that's what I set that intent. Please say no. And so it did. So if you have an emotionally strained question where you really want the answer to be one way or the other, have somebody else hold the pendulum for you, because they won't respond. It will be an answer that is less biased. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. All right. Exercises to hone your practice. So you can take, and I didn't bring these things here with me, so I'm just going to tell you about them. So you can take a lucky card. So you get 5 playing cards and look at them and choose one of them. So you choose the 3 of diamonds, for example. Then you take the 5 together and you shuffle them up and you put them down on face down so you can't see the cards. And then go ahead and put your pendulum over the card and say, are you the 3 of diamonds? And you do that over each one of the cards. And it should tell you which one is the 3 of diamonds. It is, one of the reasons you would do this is to practice connecting with your pendulum, and also creating for yourself a confidence that you're going to get the right answers. So that's one that you can do. Another one is, it's called Under the Cup, and it's actually 3-card Monty. And it is, and you put 3 cups upside down and put a little charm of some nature under one of them, and then shuffle them and do the same thing. Are you the cup with the charm? And it will ultimately, you'll get really good at picking those out. Another one, these are all the same exercise, actually, just using different things. You can get, it can be a drinking game if you do it with friends. It's, you get 4 cups that are, or 5 glasses that are identical. Put gin in one of them and vodka in the other. You can't tell the difference by looking. And then ask the cups which one is, are you gin? It is, so they're just fun little parlor games, basically, but they help to increase your confidence and helps to increase your ability to make a connection. So all of a sudden, your pendulum will be going far, bigger swings instead of little tiny swings. Now, tonight we're going to finish this with talking about your pendulum and your health and how you can affect your health with your pendulum. And then we're going to go into more magic next week. It is, if you happen to be allergic to something, MSG, I have a sister who was very allergic to fish, and there's a lot of Chinese food that uses anchovy paste, and that would kill her. You can put your pendulum over the food and say, excuse me, is there anchovy paste in this? Or is there MSG in this? And the pendulum, if you have been using it and you have the confidence, the pendulum will respond with the right answer. Okay, if you are looking at vitamins, a multivitamin supplement, there's 8 million of them out there. You can take your pendulum and put it over each one of the different ones and ask it, is this supplement good for me? And your pendulum will answer yes or no. And even though they're all multivitamins, every manufacturer makes them a little bit different. And so you can get the one that is going to work best with you. If you've been in the shop with me and if I've done muscle testing, it's the same kind of information that you would get from muscle testing. It is just a different way to do it. So one of the things that I have done in the past, which was a lot of fun, was I put different items in lunch bags that you couldn't see through. So I put a soda pop in one, I put water in one, I put toothpaste in one, and I think I put salt and sugar in one. And it was the same thing. I put the pendulum over the top of the bag and say, is this good for me? And then I opened it up to find out what was in it. And it was, I was doing this, teaching other people how to do, it's called Dowsing. And it is, and so if you're not sure if something is good for you or not good for you, ask the pendulum, and the pendulum will tell you. It is, one of the things that you can do, another little test, is to find out if you are balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So what I did was I made a circle that isn't very circular and divided it into quadrants, and then I put physical on the first quadrant, mental on the second, emotional on the third, and spiritual on the fourth. Now, what you want to do is put your pendulum right over the where the cross intersects, okay? And then ask, am I balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? by far the majority of the people are going to come back with a no. And that's what I did. So it says no here. And so I know that I'm not balanced in all parts of my life. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over the quadrant that says physical. And am I balanced physically? And it says yes. So I move over to mentally. Am I balanced mentally? And it says yes. So now I put it over the emotionally. Am I balanced emotionally? And it says no. And then, am I balanced spiritually? And it says yes. So now I know, okay, I need to do some work on my emotions. And I can then start asking questions about that. And it is to find out where I need to do the work, the shadow work, to become balanced emotionally. I'm not going to go into all of that because that's probably too much information for you on why I'm not balanced emotionally, but it is something that you can that you can do for yourself. Now, chakras. We talked about chakras, I think, one class a long time ago. You have 7 main chakras that go from the torso, bottom of your torso, all the way up to the top of your head. Each of these chakras have different jobs. So the root is at the bottom, and that's your survival, fight or flight. Then the next one is a little bit below your belly button, and that is your sacral, and that talks about your creativity and your ability to process pleasure. Then you have your solar chakra, and this one is your power center. This is where your power comes from. And then you've got your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Now, it's the color of the rainbow, so the root is red, the sacral is orange, the solar is yellow, the heart is got 2 colors, green for love of others and pink for love of self. Your throat is blue, your third eye is indigo, and your crown is violet. Now, oftentimes, if you're looking at stones for those energy centers, instead of being indigo and violet, what you'll see is an amethyst stone. So it's a purple stone for your third eye, and it is a clear quartz for your crown chakra. Your chakras open and close based on what's happening to you at this point in time. If I come up to you and spook you, your root chakra is going to totally close up because you need to protect yourself. I have the most exercised root chakra in the world because I startle easily, and you can just come up behind me and say, "Hey, Lynn," and boom, if I didn't see you come up or hear you, it's kind of ridiculous. It is so sometimes our chakras are blocked, and so for me, with the emotional imbalances, my heart chakra is not always in the best of health. So for this kind of an exercise, you need somebody to help you. And I don't have anybody here, so I'm going to just show you how to do it. And so what you're going to do is lay down on a flat surface, your sofa, your bed, the floor, wherever it is that you're going to do. And then I actually start at the feet, because it will tell you if you've got energy blocks at any point in your body. I have arthritis in my right knee, and so oftentimes there's a blockage there, and if you run the pendulum over it, it will break up that blockage. So now for me, So I ask the questions here. Show me what motion you make for a balanced chakra. Okay, and so what it's doing is it's making the yes movement. Now, show me what movement you make for a blocked chakra. And it is going in a clockwise circle. So you start at the foot and you run your pendulum up one leg and then up the other, and then come up the torso, and then go from the arms to the neck and up over the head. And if your pendulum starts making the movement for a blockage, you stop and you leave it there and you let it just keep going until it all of a sudden starts showing you, just like it does here. This is a really well-trained pendulum. So it was going in a circle, and then as soon as the blockage was completely opened, it then moves back to this sign of an open chakra. So that's a real fun thing to try and see how everybody's feeling. Now, blockages in the chakras can be a precursor to an illness, or it could be that you just injured it, or you have like the arthritis in my knee. But so some of the beginnings of dis-ease or infection or emotional imbalance, for your root chakra, it could be hemorrhoids, constipation, or a prostate problem. For your sacral, it could be impotence, frigidity, or moon cycle problems with your kidneys or gallbladder. For your solar chakra, eating disorders and ulcers, or an inability to take your own power back. For your heart chakra, angina, hypertension, heartbreak. For your throat chakra, a sore throat, or problems with your voice. Your third eye can mean that you are suffering from headaches or fuzzy or illogical thinking. And your crown chakra is loneliness, isolation, inability to see other people's point of views, and depression. So you can augment your health by making sure that your chakras are all clear and that you don't have any energy blockages. And that's the first step. So we're going to talk a little bit more next week about magic with your chakras, or with your, not chakras, with your pendulums. How to find things if you've lost your keys, or, and then some other spell work that we can do. So we are at about it's 7:30. So we went over, I overshot by 20 or by 10 minutes. So thank you for staying with me. I hope this was helpful, and I think it's going to be fun to continue it next week. So I'll get an invitation out for that so that you remember. Thank you for joining me, and have a great evening. Blessed be.